15 seconds left. Celtics.
Jersey out of that number 8 spot or out of the playoffs, and now we got a little rough stuff going on here, Kenny, between Derek Harper and your old buddy Sam Cassell.
Sam, I ain't on this one. He's not going to have it, Derek Harper says.
And look at this. 79-60 is the count as they New York last night in a playoff rematch. The Knicks beat the Pacers 103-95, but Larry Brown wasn't around for the finish. Now he's going to pay for it with a 1-game suspension and $11,000 fine. In addition, the Pacers were fined $50,000. He wanted a piece of those replacement refs, and the coach is trying to get to him to keep him away. And before he left, from midcourt, the hook off the mark. Still 43 good minutes for Larry Brown, 0 for 1 from the field, and his first ejection of the season.
Coaches Dick Versace of Indiana and Chuck Daly of Detroit were fined a total of $4,000 today by NBA Vice President Rod Thorne. The story on tonight's NBA Beat. Versace was fined $2,500 for failing to leave the playing area immediately and for throwing a chair after being ejected in the third quarter of the Pacers' win over Phoenix March 10th. Daly was assessed $1,500 for communicating with his team's bench after being thrown out of the third quarter of Detroit's win over Cleveland on March 3rd.
45 seconds left till halftime. New York should go 2 for 1, get a quick shot, and get the last one. Childs punches Mourning, and now Marley's in the middle of it, trying to break things up. Childs was fouled hard, but then took a jab at Alonzo Mourning.
What it was a push. He didn't like the fact that he got hit, but then he was ready to pull that right hand back on Tim Hardaway, and I'm not sure he wanted to do that.
And notice how nobody comes off the bench here.
They learned their lesson.
To the hoop here.
You see, he got slapped in the head by Alonzo Mourning, so he pushes back, and he's ready to go.
He didn't get slapped in the head. Alonzo Mourning just following through on a great defensive play.
Over on the bench, it was like they were stuck in granite. Nobody even stood up. That's because of what happened last year in Game 5.
Take a look at the right of your screen there. You got Charlie Ward undercutting P.J. Brown, who just body slams him, and then all heck breaks loose here. Everybody coming onto the court, and 5 Knicks were suspended from this game because they left the bench. Eventually cost them a chance to move on in the playoffs as the Heat won in 7 games behind Tim Hardaway's brilliance.
And P.J. Brown suffered a 2-game suspension in that melee.
The officials had called a technical foul against Alonzo Mourning, so they didn't see it as just a routine follow-through.
For what? The guy is just playing great defense. Has he even picked up any regular fouls in this game?
A tie with Seattle atop the Pacific.
Isolate Karl Malone from 18 feet here. Let him drive to the hoop on Shaq.
Shot clock at 6. Stockton on the move. Blocked by O'Neal. Out of bounds to Utah. And now, more than just a few words, Ostertag and Robert Horry tangled about 3 minutes ago.
And a question, what are they going to do with the shot clock? Did that ball ever hit the rim? It's now at 1.
And Ostertag and Van Exel sharing a laugh now.
Well, it really wasn't a fight, but I like Ostertag. He put his chest on him and just walked him out of it back to the other end of the floor. Now you watch. See, he got bumped, and I bump him back and just walk you down. Get off me. And Jerry Sloan and Nunez quickly jump in there, and now they're trying to figure out what the shot clock situation is.
Horry and Ostertag have both been hit with technicals. We have 1:09 to play.
A total of 9 players have been fined by the NBA for a fight during the Knicks-Pacers game on Wednesday night. It happened in the second quarter at Market Square Arena. Patrick Ewing threw a few punches at Detlef Schrempf and was docked $6,000 for being the aggressor. Schrempf was fined $1,000 for retaliating. Who else got tagged, you ask? I've got the answer for you. 7 other players fined $500 each for leaving the bench. Jackson, Oakley, McDaniel for New York, McLeod, Miller, Thompson, and Smits for Indiana.
Fisher on the run at the other end is walloped by Austin Crozier and isn't a bit happy about it.
Now remember, those 2 guys got taunting fouls against each other in game 2. Remember the little loose ball, and they looked at each other, stared each other down. They both got taunting technicals. He made no attempt to play the basketball here, so I'm sure this is going to be a flagrant one. 2 shots in the ball. Here comes Crozier. If you don't try to play the ball, usually that's an automatic flagrant foul.
And they do call it a flagrant.
You've got 2 real tough inside teams here.
Hey, Drexler says we are the most physical team in this league, and they're proud of that. You know, has trouble lateral movement because of a knee injury.
This is going to be a foul on.
You'll see now. Now, we're going to have movement. Let's see what happens here. Boom. There you have. They called an elbow foul. Now, if the elbow is deliberately thrown and hits a player above the shoulders, they can flagrant foul and can put you out of this game.
Miami. These 2 teams do not like each other. Second quarter, off the drive by Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning with a flagrant foul, and LJ takes exception. Pushing, shoving, no punches thrown, no ejections, but offsetting technical fouls. Meanwhile, P.J. Brown, waiting to report into the game at the scorer's table, made his way onto the court in support of his teammate. The league will look at the tape and is likely to issue a 1-game suspension.
No score. Allen Houston hit it last. The Heat will get it back.
Jeff Van Gundy telling us that a real Charles Oakley is into it already.
Hardaway sticks his chin on his elbow and says, "Why are you elbowing me?"
But it's important that Oakley gets involved psychologically early.
And a blocking foul on the Knicks as Leonard hits hard.
Next foul number 34, Charles Oakley.
Oakley has the personal foul.
Well, look for the dotted line, and it'll tell you whether he got out in front in time or not. Oakley feels that he did, but he was inside the line, and Vashawn Leonard coming to the free throw line.
What's a big guy like Charles Oakley taking charges for on Vashawn Leonard? Get in the air and block a shot, please, Charles.
Is he amongst the leading shot blockers in the NBA?
No.
Then he probably is not going to block the shot.
The squad, you see the shooting this quarter for the Knicks. Horrendous. Allen Houston can't get anything going.
Well, but they expected to have a drought, and what they feel they have to do is play through it, work through it. Oakley works through that one, gets on the scoreboard.
Oakley muscled it in, took a shot from Mourning, and then let the officials know about it.
But you got Terry Cummings, Alonzo Mourning, and Charles Oakley out here. There is going to be a lot of body contact.
That body contact between Mourning and Oakley results in Charles Oakley's 3rd foul. Oh, they called it on Cummings. It's his 3rd.
They're going to use all of them. Everybody that's on the front line for the Knicks is going to get to fire all their bullets this afternoon. But this is a physical game, and they've got players like Cummings, Oakley, Williams that don't back down from contact. Mourning's in that same category.
Allen Houston bumping with Marley. Fall-away shot. Finally finds the mark. First field goal by Allen Houston.
And another foul on Oakley. Bob Delaney calls a double foul. Oakley and P.J. Brown, which really hurts the Knicks.
P.J. Brown, you'll remember, involved with Charlie Ward in that melee last year that resulted in suspensions.
Reputations have so much to do with whether you're allowed to play. Allen Houston makes the field goal. You see the bodies collide, and Oakley saying, "Give me a break." And there are no breaks to be had for Oak or P.J. Brown. Their reputations are physical players that have had excessive fines. Oakley's coming out of the ball game. P.J. Brown ought to be fouling pretty quickly.
3 fouls on each, P.J. and Oakley.
Oakley, who was just so critical to the Knicks' success.
Not sure if Oakley has a nosebleed or what over there on the Knicks bench.
I think he's just angry. Or maybe there's tears.
Leonard hits them both, and Oakley is okay, just upset. Took by 3. Leonard is fouled.
Now that's what you do to guards when they come to the hoop.
We've got a timeout.
Oakley is wide open, and that's going to be their money as long as Mourning's in the middle.
Just wish everyone had peace and don't eat too many eggs.
Charles Oakley. I think his dad raised chickens down on that farm in York, Alabama. As the bunny ears are very much in evidence in the Miami arena today. Charles Oakley, who was born in Cleveland, spent some time in Alabama, then with his grandparents in Cleveland, where he went to John Hay High School and was, he told us, a better football player than he was a basketball player, but didn't much like the schedule of early practices they had in football.
Well, basketball always an afternoon and evening game.
McGuire and Rodman on the floor for the Pistons.
Oh, man. Kersey just popped Isaiah Thomas. Call the timeout. He got on Joey Crawford. Now, here it is. Now, boom. He just catches him and puts him down.
If you were rooting for Magic, that means you were rooting against Larry Bird.
Right. No one liked Larry Bird here. Everyone hated the Celtics. But of course I respected Larry Bird because he was a great player.
Did you ever have anything going with him personally on the court?
There's only two things really Larry ever said to me. My rookie year, we were playing in the Garden. And I was, playing hard, and of course we ended up losing, but it was like maybe 15 or 20 seconds left on the clock. And Dennis Johnson was shooting a free throw, and I was back with Larry. And he came up and patted me on the butt and said, and I really didn't know Larry, and he hit me and said, just keep working hard, you're going to be a great player. And this, I'm like, wow, Larry said this. Well, hence me, a year later, we were playing in Market Square Arena, and we had a chance to beat the Celtics at home, which never really happened. And he was at the free throw line trying to ice the game, and I'm on the line. I said, like, hey, saying something, and he dribbles and stops and looks at me and says, don't you know who I am? And knocked it down, and after that, I really didn't say nothing else to him.
3:76, and Portland has possession. Porter 1 to the 3 into Duckworth. He is fouled by Aguirre. Yeah, it got a little nasty down there.
Well, it's frustration. See, Duckworth has not had a good night. He's averaging 16 points a game for his second year in a row. He's one of your main
79% shooter there.
See, right now you must stop this dunk right here. Good foul by Aguirre, and already it's ended up for him because Duckworth has missed the first.
Well, they are world champions. I mean, but we get sick and tired of hearing about how much heart they got. They ain't got no more heart than we got. We both won the same number of games, and we looking forward to Game 7.
Never one to hold back his feelings. You guys were watching that come down and chuckling to yourselves. Here's Evander Holyfield, #1 in boxing, #1 in the hearts of the Hawks there, too. Look at this. Dominique with the block.
I mean, come on. To play in the Olympics, I think you got to be crazy to turn that down.
I would have thought, though, the second time around, you would have wanted to coach Angola instead of beating up on him.
Well, I just hope that, people appreciate our talent this time. Don't try to make a big deal out of everything we do. I mean, I'm going to play the way I play. I try to beat up anybody I play against. That's just the way I play. And people don't like it, they'll get over it.
Playing the Lakers on Sunday, going up against your old teammate, Cedric Ceballos. What do you make of what he did leaving the team, and now Nick Van Exel pushing the referee? What is going on, Charles? You've become the voice of reason. Scary.
That is scary. I mean, I think one of the reasons they might have put me on the dream team is they said you can start out like a maniac and you can change. So they probably want to keep me invisible so these young guys can change. No, I think that Cedric made a mistake. Nick made a mistake. They're both wrong, and that's it. I can't sit around. I don't like harp on them like everybody else has. When you're in the spotlight, everything you do is magnified. They were both wrong. They both got in trouble for it, and they need to move on from that.
The defensive boards, although they do that all the time and they're not getting much resistance from the Pacers, a very poor offensive rebounding team.
Chris Childs yelling, and he's been hit with a technical foul. Childs had the ball stolen, then fouled Best, and then furthers the damage with a silly technical foul, and the Pacers will get a freebie.
Well, Travis Best is a very tough individual defender on the ball. The clear grab by Chris Childs, of course, he's complaining that he got fouled first. But in Chris Childs' precarious position of seemingly having one good game, a couple off games, then another good game. He's coming off a good one yesterday. Really has to keep these kinds of emotions under control.
Trying to talk for Jim Clark, who hit him with the technical. Giles talked about one of the keys for him yesterday.
Most of the touches, most of the play, as Patrick Ewing has kept himself, for the most part, on the periphery.
Offensive foul on Best. He pushed off with the right arm. Larry Johnson helping out on defense. And the 11th Pacer turnover. Childs and Best talking. Now, Childs could get called for a taunting technical if he keeps that up. He's already got one. You get 2 techs, you're automatically ejected. You just can't believe that he stays involved in that.
And the antenna have to be up on the part of the officials after the stall. Beautiful feed by Childs inside to Allen Houston.
Starks trying to hold off Mark Jackson. And there's the foul. And a technical foul has been called. John Starks, a personal and a technical. Now, he got called for a flagrant earlier, but that doesn't count. A technical, if you get 2, you're automatically ejected. That's only his first technical.
Now, you'll remember, Mike, back when that incident happened between Reggie Miller and John Starks, and Starks hit him high with the elbow in the face. It was Terry Durham, the official, that immediately didn't hesitate for a second, gave the heave-ho signal to throw John Starks out of the ballgame. Once the officials got together, they changed that and just called a flagrant 1 on Starks, which enabled him to stay in the game. It looked like Terry Durham had his eyes wide open, almost waiting for Starks to do something.
Well, here he is. He's going to be talking to Scottie Pippen, telling him, you can't guard me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take you to the basket. But he didn't score the basket.
Get the idea, Charles, a little too tense for these games. Takes it too seriously.
Well, right now, only thing he can do is be comfortable, because they're in trouble.
And that's the way he is able to psych himself. Barkley with 18, Jordan with 17 at the half. With the 111-105 victory. Michael Jordan, the 5th player in NBA history to score 50 or more in an NBA Finals game. And he did it for the most part off the drive. He has varied it here this evening.
Probably give it to Charles, middle of the floor, similar to what they did at the end of the game against San Antonio. He would like to get a running start and face up if he could with about 8 on the shot clock. Then get going at around 6.
You see him talking to Scottie Pippen as he's dribbling.
Time running out of the half. Now a 1, Barkley. Well, they used the clock effectively, but could not convert. The Suns led by 3rd quarter. A foul on Pippen. Pippen with the shove.
If you want to know how all the trash talking got started, it was on this play. And after this play, Charles Barkley started telling Scottie Pippen, you can't guard me, I'm not going anywhere. And then after Charles had scored that play, then Scottie came right back and scored on Charles and said, I'm not going anywhere either. Now, finally, Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns have realized that, hey, we can be friends off the court some other time, but we can't be friends on the court and try to win a championship. Now they're bumping, hitting the Bulls like they never did in the first 3 games.
23 for Barkley. Frank Johnson returns to give Kevin Johnson a breather.
Charles continue right here to tell Scottie Pippen, you can't guard me. Every time we come down, I'm going to take you one-on-one. And they're drawing back and forth at each other.
Pippen. Oh, took home. Terrific follow by Pippen.
Now, Scottie is telling Charles, you can't guard me. I just took you. So we'll see what happens here.
Little conversation taking place inside. Charles, Scottie on that last time down when Scottie shot.
Barkley played 23 of 24 minutes in the first half. Here's the conversation continuing between Pippen.
Minutes, got 1 shot which he missed and 1 rebound. Not something you're used to seeing from Horace Grant.
Hardaway for 3. Get it. 36-20.
Got keeping low. You see the ball in the triple threat position. Just pulls his way right through. Scores Whittington, if you will, and then throws Randy Brown out of the way. These little guys out from underneath me.
Ryan Hill. Story there, the hair. Dwayne Chinsis continues to sport perhaps the worst haircut, the worst in the history of organized sport. Of course, that's our opinion.